You ask the questions and I'll answer. It's your show.
What you're actually doing now, we would like to know.
Well, I'll tell you a little bit about the story. So I came out of a very Christian family, and I was a good kid growing up. I was taking care of my mother, who was very ill. And when I was 18, I moved away from my family. I went to New York City to live a life of, rock and roll. And I got into the club business, and I spent time promoting nightclubs, selling alcohol for a living. And after 10 years in the business, at 28, I woke up with everything I thought I wanted, and I was so unhappy. I was miserable.
You didn't reach your destiny.
No. And so I started praying again, and I started, searching for God, and I found an opportunity to leave everything in New York behind and go live in West Africa. And there was this amazing group that operated on poor people from a ship. And it was a 522-foot hospital ship. And the doctors would fly in from all over the country, and they would operate for free. They would give up their vacation time. So I joined this mission called the Mercy Ship as their photographer. And I figured maybe, I could connect the 10 years of people that I knew in nightlife to what was going on in Africa, in Liberia. And of course, as you know, when you see it in front, seeing is believing. And it was so difficult being confronted with extreme poverty and seeing people with tumors, seeing people blind. I wanted to help. So I spent 2 years there. And when I came back to New York, I was 30, and I knew that I wasn't going to go back into clubs, but I was going to do this for the rest of my life. And the biggest problem I'd seen was the lack of access to clean water. So we saw all this sickness and all this disease and tumors and cleft lips, so much sickness. But I learned that 80% of disease in the world you could track back to bad water and a lack of toilets, water and sanitation. We're 1 billion people without water. None of my friends knew there was a water crisis. None of my friends knew there were solutions. And about 5 years ago, I decided to start and see what I could do to help. So that led me back to Africa, and I started traveling, looking for local partners. I believed that for work to be sustainable, it needed to be led by the national staff, by the communities themselves.
Right.
So it wasn't going to be me going over and drilling wells or digging wells. It would need to be the communities helping themselves. But they needed the money. They didn't have $10,000 for a borehole. So I found these great local partners in 4 countries at first. Ethiopia was one of the first. And it's grown over the last 5 years now to more than $40 million in 19 countries. And there are about 4,000 water projects through those countries that'll serve just under 2 million people.
We're joining, because what we do with the Bob Marley and the Rita Marley Foundation is take what we can, similar thing. You go, there's no light, kids have nowhere for sanitation and no food, and then we went into the village and we see people yearning for clean water. When we see where they're taking the water from, it's terrible. You wouldn't even use that, you wouldn't even allow your dogs to drink that water. And when we heard about what you're doing, and then we said, well, we all got together and decided that we want to make a contribution financially to this cause and help you to make it better.
Okay.
So it gives me great pleasure to give you this check on behalf of One Love Org.
Wow.
Which is an organization formed around the family and what to do, what can we do, what more can we do.
This is incredible. This is enough to bring clean water to 5,000 people.
Oh, it's a blessing. Praise the Lord.
5,000 people.
Yes, praise
That's
the Lord.
a lot.
Praise the Lord.
We believe as well water is life. In the north of Ethiopia where you've traveled, they say, Tsuri mai hunzeti.
Yes. We're hoping that others will see
Yep.
they can do it too, and to contribute to this cause, because it's saving more lives.
Yep.
Because water is life. Water is life. The stream of life is water.